Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a book review, and I have 6 books to get through. 2 of them I don't know if I did a book review on or not, so let's just get right down to it. So I'm in my pajamas, by the way, just because I didn't have enough time during the day to do this video, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it now, because I don't feel like doing it tomorrow. So anyway, this is called Why Cats Don't Like to Swim, and it's by David Feldman, an Imponderables book. And this is what it looks like. Now, this book is really outdated, but first let me tell you what Imponderables is about. So, this guy, David Feldman, he wrote these books about different questions. And it's about questions that, like, you really want to know the answers to, but you never knew what the answers were. Like, why does an X stand for kiss? What kind of fruits are in juicy fruit gum? Why don't we see baby pigeons? Why don't cats like to swim? There's one about why do the color blue represent boys and why does the color the pink represent girls? All this different stuff. And there's a lot of questions in this book. Some of them I just skipped because some of them were about like sports and I don't really like sports. Some were about film. You know, like, film, like, for a camera and stuff like that. So those questions I skipped over just because, like, I don't know anything about sports, and I don't know anything about camera stuff film camera stuff, because most people don't use film for cameras, unless you do. I don't know. But yeah, so this book was, like, written in, I guess, maybe, like, the 80s or the 90s, I guess. And, yes, but all in all, I really like this book because it was really educational, because it had so many different questions in it, and then, like, you read the questions and you're like, oh yeah, like, I want to know why this is that way, whatever, like the questions I just told you guys about. So yeah, so that book was really good. I don't know how many questions are in it, like, maybe like 100, or maybe close to 100, but they're not that long. Some are like 4 or 5 pages, but most of them are just like 2 pages long. And the explanations are, like, really good. Like, they're not, like, really, like, for somebody that's, like, really smart and uses, like, all these, like, fancy words or anything. He really takes his time and goes through, like, this so that anybody can read this book. It's really good, like I said before. And they're all random in this book. They're not all the same questions or anything. So the next book I have is a V.C. Andrews book, and this is The Secret Brother. Oh, by the way, I got this Imponderables book at a book sale, so you won't find it anywhere else, unless you get it on, like, online or something. So this is the V.C. Andrews Secret Brother book, and this came out, this is the 3rd book in this, diary series. Like, it says, like, the diary of Christopher, and then, Secrets of Foxworth, and then this is the 3rd one in the series, and this is Secret Brother. And I won't give, well, I don't know if I should give anything away, but this is the sequel to Flowers in the Attic. So this is like a sequel to that book, not the series. If you know, like, the book series with, like, the flower names in it, like Petals on the Wind and stuff like that. This one is just a sequel, sort of, to the the Flowers in the Attic book. So it's a sequel to Flowers in the Attic book. It's 369 pages. And I think there was only 16 chapters in this book. Usually your books have, like, sort of, like, around that many, or close to 20. And this is what it looks like. There's chapters in this book. Not like the diary ones. So this one goes along with the diary ones, like I just said. They're the ones about finding Christopher's diary. That's the first one. Secrets of Foxworth. That's the second one, where they find out about the Secret Brother. And then this third book is a sequel to the Flowers in the Attic book, and it's about one of the brothers in this book. There's 4 kids, and there's 2 brothers. So it's about one of the brothers, and it just goes through, like, his life. It goes through his, like, little kid life and everything. I don't want to give anything away because I don't want somebody who just started reading this book to do something with this book, read this book and whatever, or see this and then, like, don't want to read the book. So I can't give that much away, but it's really, really good. And then there's another book that's going to come out, and it's going to come out in August. I don't know if they have this book at Walmart anymore. This was, like, $6 or $7 at Walmart. But yeah, some of the chapters are, like, 20 pages long. So it's not a book for, like, the most, like, short time reader, or whatever you want to say it, like that. So I got this book. That book was really good, and the Ponder's book were really good. But this book really sucked. And it's John Green's Paper Towns, and I love John Green's books. Like, don't get me wrong. John Green is, like, the best for, like, it's sort of like, I always compare him to, like, Nicholas Sparks, because he's, like, the Nicholas Sparks for, like, younger people, and, like, pre-teens, teens, like, young adults, I guess you could say. And I read The Abundance of Catherine, Fault in Our Stars, and Looking for Alaska, and those 3 books I read by him were good, but this book really sucked, and I don't know why they're making a movie out of it. But Paper Towns wasn't that good of a book. Like, I'm not going to go see the movie, but I wanted to see if it was good. Like, Fallen Our Stars was good, The Abundance of Catherine was good, and Looking for Alaska was good. But this book right here, you guys, sucked. And I just got this at Walmart. I didn't know where else to get it. But it really did suck. Like, I really didn't like it. So it's sort of about this girl, and she's like an adventurous girl, like a free spirit, and she runs away from home, and her parents are sick and tired for running away from home, so they're not even going to go find her. So it's about this guy that is sort of like her boyfriend, but she doesn't really see him as her boyfriend, just like a friend, and he goes on the race to find her, and he goes along with some of his friends and everything to find her. And that's basically what it's about, but it really wasn't that interesting. There was not, like, it came in parts, and each part had different chapters in it, so I don't know how many chapters total were in this book. But this book really wasn't that good, you guys. Sorry, guys. This book really wasn't that good. This book was, like, so bad. But the chapters in it were really short and everything. Like, I don't know why, I just didn't like that book. I don't know why. I think it was just because, like, the ending was kind of stupid. Like, you would think, okay, like, you lead up to, like, this book, and you think this book is good, and then, okay, or whatever, and then, like, you read it, and you get to the end, and you're like, seriously, that's what happens at the end? And plus, there's, like, there's no epilogue at the end of this book, so it's like, you're just, like, left hanging in this book. Like, you don't know what's gonna happen next. Like, do they fall in love more? Does she go back to their hometown together? Does he go away with her? Like, you have no clue what happens because there's no epilogue in it. So it's just like a leaving you hanging book. So, like, I don't understand it. And it's like the whole thing, it seemed like he could, like, the whole thing, it just seemed like you could get rid of, like, so many parts in it. Because so many parts in this book you don't need. Like, the second part was, like, the longest part in the whole book. It's just, like, it's just so, it was not okay. It was okay. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just okay. And I don't want to, like, get into any arguments with people about, oh, like, you just don't like the book, blah, blah, blah. Because I love his work and everything. It's just, this book was just weird. And I didn't understand the whole, like, Paper Town sort of, like, title for it. Like, they do go into explanation about it, but it just seemed like they didn't talk more about it in the book. I don't know. But, yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about the book, you guys. So, the next one is a V.C. Andrews book. It's called The Runaways. And this goes along with the Orphan series. And the Orphan series was like a 4 in 1 book. And this is what it looks like. I got this at a book sale. So basically, it was really short. There was 19 chapters in this book, plus an epilogue and a prologue. And there was 342 chapters. And it's about these orphans, these 4 orphans. And they each have, like, a talented sort of background in their books. And this is about these 4 girls, and they live in this foster home system because they were adopted, but then stuff happened with their adopted parents, so they were forced to go to this foster home, and they really hate this foster home and everything, so they just decide to run away. And it's sort of like their little, like, traveling adventure and everything, and, like, all this stuff, like, happens in it. Like, they meet this old couple that put them up for the night. They work at this diner until they get to the end of the book, and it's sort of like, it's really good. Like, it's like a mysterious sort of book, and it's not that bad, and it's really good. Like, I liked it. Some of the chapters are really short, some are really long, but it was really good. I really liked it. It's really good. The epilogue is really good too in the book. So it's sort of like, it's good. Like, in the book, you just, like, when I read this book, I felt sorry for him because, like, part of it, like, they ran out of money, and then somebody tried to frame him from stealing something, which meant that the person who, they worked at a diner, and the girl's, son didn't like them, so he sort of, like, framed them, but the girl believed them, but then she still let him go, so then they lost all their money. They had to do all this stuff to get it back and everything, and then eventually the guy who works at the foster home with his wife, the owners of it, he gets back, and then they go and leave again. And it's sort of like, okay, like, this book, you say, oh my god, like, there's so many twists and turns in it that you really wish that they got a happy ending at the end, and they did, you guys. Like, they really did, but I'm not going to tell you, like, what happens in the end or whatever. You guys will just have to read it yourself. I got that at a book sale, but sometimes you can get V.C. Andrews books, like, at a flea market or a book at, like, a Target or Walmart or anything. This is another book, and it's called The Cat Who Knew a Cardinal, and it's Lilian Jackson Braun. I think that's how you say her last name. It's about a guy, he has 2 cats, and they solve mysteries. This is like a whole series of books, the Cat Who books, and there's not like a real, I guess there's not a real order to them. Like, if you read this book, like, first or the 17th, it really doesn't matter. They're all the same. It's all the same series. They don't have to go in any order. And this book was really good. It's about Jim Quillian's. I never knew how you say his last name. Quillians. I don't know. But they just call him Quill in the book, like Quill. That's how they say his name. And it's about a casting party, and something happens in it, and then he has to figure out who did it and why and everything else. So this is what it looks like. It's not that. These are just, like, little, like, typing stamps. Like, this is, I don't know. This isn't like, this is probably like in like the 70s or 80s, I guess, when typewriters were still in use. I don't know. And this sort of helps. The typewriter stamps, I don't know why I look weird in this, but the typewriter stamps help him figure out who did it and why and everything. This chapter, I think there was like 10 chapters in that book, and they were all really long. Like, there wasn't really like a short one or anything. So the next book I have is the last one I have read for this month, or last month too. It's Elizabeth Gilbert's Eat, Pray, Love, and this is what it looks like. They have, I forget how many chapters they have in each one. Like, I don't know. It doesn't say. Maybe like 30 chapters. I think it's 30 chapters in each book. In each part. There's 3 parts in it. This woman, she wants to start her life over after her divorce. So she goes to Italy, India, and Indonesia in that order, and that's the parts that are in this book. There's just 3 parts. And I don't know how many pages are in it, like 300, I think. Yeah, 331 pages. Excuse me. And each one, I think, has 30 chapters in it. And I know this was made. I only got this book because it was made into a movie. And I never saw the movie at all, and I know I'm never gonna, like, see it because, this movie wasn't out recently or anything, so I won't find it, like, in, like, the movie section, in a store or anything, or, like, on demand or anything like that. But I know that, Julia Roberts was in it, and she plays the main girl. And let me tell you, I didn't know why they made a movie about this book, because I did not like this book at all. This book wasn't that good. And the thing why I don't like it, and it's going to go into a long tangent, but this is the thing, is like, every part in this book, all she does is like, every couple chapters, like every 3 or 4 chapters, what she does is she talks about her life, she talks about her life in New York, like about her ex-husband, and her parents, and her sister, whatever. And I'm like, that distracts from the storyline that you're in. Like, if you're in Italy, like, don't talk about your stuff that happens whenever ago. Like, in New York, so that's where she's from. Talk about what's happening in Italy. And that's what I hated the most about this book, was that every few chapters, and the chapters, like, really short in the book, in the parts, and I just didn't like it because it's like every time she gets distracted, it's like every time she just gets distracted and she doesn't want to write about Italy or Indonesia or in India. She wants to write about her life before she went on this trip. And I'm like, why didn't you just put all that stuff in the prologue or something? Or made a new part about it? Like, part 1 should have been about New York, and then 2 should have been about Italy, and 3 India, and then 4 Indonesia. That would be like 4 parts. And then, like, you wouldn't have to explain things in the when she goes on a trip. It just seemed really annoying, because then you're like, okay, like, you're talking about this, but you're in Italy, right? Like, you get so confused about it, like, especially when, like, the chapters are really short in this book. I don't know if they're, like, chapters or not. I think they are. And I'm like, if you're writing, like, 30 chapters in one part, like, why aren't you just talking about Italy all the time? Like, why do you have to talk about what happened before your trip? Like, that should have been in a separate part. That's what I don't like about this book. And it seemed like it seemed like 30 chapters in some of these were really like, okay, like, some of them were like, why do you have 30 chapters in this book, in the parts? Because I'm like, half the time you're talking about what happened before your trip, and then the other ones, it's sort of like, it's the same day, so I'm like, why don't you just put all you did in one day? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, like, she stayed there for, like, 3 months or something in each country, but I'm like, seriously, like, why didn't you just, like, make it, like, a couple chapters long instead of having, like, these short chapters where everything happens in, like, 2 or 3 days at a time? Like, I don't get it. So I really didn't like that book, and I don't recommend reading it because I just didn't like it, and I don't think, like, I don't know, I just didn't like how, like, it was, the setting always changed, like, between, like, okay, like, you're going back to New York, and then you're going to Italy, and then you're going back to New York life, and then you're going back to Italy, and then Italy, and then you go back to New York. Like, I didn't like that kind of structure for a book, and it's like, if the part's about Italy, then it should be about Italy, like, right? If you're talking about India, shouldn't you put the stuff that happened in India? It's like, it's just so weird. So that was my book review for the month of June/May. So sum this up. If you like any of these books that I mentioned, comment below and tell me if you want me to read any more books by certain authors that you like, or you disagree with something that I said, or anything like that. Comment below. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another book video.